All right, welcome back. It's episode 50, halfway to 100. This is the We Are One, You Are Two PlayStation and Video Game Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Robert Fanzo. I'm joined once again this week by, he used to play other games, but now he only plays Fortnite, Matt Rhodes.
That's incorrect. I'm splitting my time between Fortnite and Rocket League these days.
Oh, okay, that's right. I forgot about Rocket League. Yeah, how could I forget about that?
Yeah. Hey-o.
We've got
by the way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Welcome. Yeah. Sorry.
It's okay.
Thanks for joining me today. We have a pretty good show lined up for people. This is our 50th episode, so we're a year later, basically, of doing this. A little over a year later.
That's crazy.
So we missed, I'd like to pretend we only missed 2 episodes or 2 weeks, but I know we missed probably a little more than that.
You're right.
Anyway, we've got a great show lined up for people today. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the news. We're going to talk a little bit about the Mortal Kombat reveal that was this past week. And I have a funny feeling we're going to talk about a few other things in depth as well that we'll just save until then. But first, I do want to mention that if you are interested or like what you hear, we do have a Patreon. I've been trying to send out Patreon polls every week for people to vote on. I usually allow them to go live for Patreons first, a few days before everyone else. And then if you guys don't vote on it over there, what we do is we go ahead and open it up to the public. So you are welcome to join us over on Patreon. We have different tiers. I'm going to be adjusting those soon for the new year. Sometime in February, we're going to have some new additions there. So if you want to get in on that, feel free to do so. Just look for us on patreon.com/weare1UR2. The little R, R1, R2, just in case you didn't know that after 50 episodes. If you've been listening,
just like 50. The PlayStation game controller, guys.
That's right. If it's your first listening, welcome. So, Matt, we're going to start with what we've always started with for all 49 previous episodes, although I did one by myself, so we're going to say 48, I guess. I want to talk a little bit about what we've been playing, because we're also going to introduce a new segment today, or I am.
Ooh.
Very briefly. Surprise. And so we'll talk about what that'll be, and I'll kind of give you a breakdown of the first opportunity for that. So what have you been playing? Let's start with you.
Well, I already mentioned
Assassin's
it in
Creed.
The intro. Assassin's Creed, yeah. Rocket League and Fortnite, of course. I have, I played anything else? I feel like I might have played something else, but I can't remember.
Clearly made an impact on you.
Yeah. Maybe I haven't played anything else. I thought about playing God of War today, I think that's what it was.
Wow, you thought about it.
I thought about it, yeah. I was like, should I play God of War? I was like, nah. Well, because they had the Fortnite event today, as of this recording, or as the time we're recording. They had like the Winter Storm, which I think probably it wasn't as crazy as an event as they've had before. That's probably why they haven't really like did anything to like announce it or like, I was watching a live stream and I was like, is that it? I was like, oh, okay. I watched the live stream and played it just in case I got killed, just in case some jabroni wanted to kill me. But it's pretty cool. There's like the Ice King. He kind of appeared and then he made this motion and froze over the whole map basically. So now the whole map's covered in snow. And it's kind of like Fort Nightmares back in October. So they have like these ice shards and they have like the ice zombies now basically.
Huh.
Yeah. So there's there's ice zombies. And of course they have challenges related to said zombies. I don't know. It's pretty cool.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm waiting for the Fortnite bandwagon to fall apart.
Me too.
I think this year this year you'll probably see something replace it where maybe not replace it. I think it'll become cool if it hasn't already. I think it has to hate on Fortnite.
Yeah.
And I think you'll see less and less people playing it because I already, among the social circles I have, and by that I mean my students, noticed a huge drop off on the amount of kids that play it and several that don't even talk about it anymore. So I anticipated it will probably decline.
Well, what do they talk about?
I don't know. Nothing. I haven't really heard him talking about anything recently in terms of gaming. And so it makes me wonder if it's just kind of in this lull where people who are still playing it. But I think you'll see for the first time Epic later this year talk about, or you won't even maybe hear about it directly, but somehow the numbers will decline just a little bit. Cool. So I've been playing kind of the opposite end of that. I haven't touched either one of those two. I played a little bit of Street Fighter V Arcade Edition because I got that off of Amazon real cheap, and so I thought I'd give that a whirl.
Nice.
I've been playing some more Beat Saber because I finished the campaign, but I just can't help it. It's just the songs are in my head all day, and then I go home and I'm like, I have to. And now I'm kind of at the point where I want to get a perfect score on one of the tracks on Expert. And so that's almost impossible to do, or it's not almost impossible. It's very difficult to do.
Yeah, you kind of just got to memorize everything, right?
Yeah, it's memorization, but it's also a lot of Beat Saber is also the angle at which you cut.
Right.
And so if you cut correctly and close enough to the center of the block, you get the max amount of points. Mm-hmm. And I was reading somewhere that you have to do that with 90% of the blocks you hit.
Wow.
In order to, so you have to have like almost perfect cuts for 90% of the time.
Right.
Or at least score 90% of the points on each block that you do hit that are possible. So you basically have to get 100 out of 110 points in order just to get the SS ranking, like the perfect ranking. So I'm going to stick with one song. I tried doing that K-pop song, and goodness, is it difficult. Sometimes I make it through, and sometimes I don't make it halfway through. So I don't think that'll be the one I do that score on.
Well, here's the question, and maybe I feel like an idiot for saying this, but what does SS stand for?
Supremely satisfactory. I have no idea.
I thought maybe like superstar, but like, I don't know. I always wondered that because I feel like that's a classification, and like, you know, usually like A, B, C or whatever, and then I've seen it on different games. You get like an SS.
Yeah, and actually, if you think about it, Devil May Cry, which is the other game that I've been playing, rewards you with A, B, C, or D.
Yeah.
And then it gives you an S rank, and then it can give you an SS, and then it gives you triple S's. So you can actually earn an SSS rank, right?
Supreme Superstar, maybe?
I have no idea. That's actually something that maybe is good for a little bit of history, gaming history research that we'll do sometime. But that's a really good question. I don't know. That's a great question. I'd have to look that up and really, I'll find that out for next week. And if anybody knows, you can write in and tell us and make me sound like an idiot. I'm looking it up right now, and I don't see anything.
Me either. The one thing I got says the S rank allowed for a wider range of attainable grades and thus player motivation, meaning that it was soon adopted by Western developers who realized that the S rank was much cooler than the boring A. An A rank is commonly obtained by getting 90 to 95%.
That's funny. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a answer to that. So I guess that's something I'll have to figure out later and look it up and get back to you on. So I've been playing that, and I've been playing this little indie game that I'm going to talk about in a little bit here called Steel Rats.
Ooh, Steel Rats.
It's good. It's a cute little indie game. It's on the PS4. That's also on Steam. So I would check that out. And then on my Vita, I've been playing Neon Chrome, which came out a couple of years ago.
Nice.
That was free, I think, 1 month for PlayStation Plus. And it's a little top-down shooter indie game, and it's really, really, really good. I would encourage people to check that out. It's also available on PS4. I think it's like $10. And I'm almost finished with that. By the time this podcast comes out, I'll finish it because I'm on the last two bosses or last level.
Nice.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. But that's it. I mean, I guess a wide variety of stuff, and I'll probably try and work my way through. Oh, I did do more Red Dead. And it just reminded me of how I'll never finish that game. I won't. I'll never finish it, and it's okay. I think 10 people in the world have finished it. I mean, I'm joking, but you know, I don't think you can be over 25 and have finished that game.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Well, you haven't finished it.
Oh no, 100% have not.
I don't know if I mentioned this on the last podcast or not. I did finish Celeste.
Ooh. You didn't mention that.
That was fantastic. Although I was ready to smash the controller on the climbing the mountain part. But let's get into the news because I actually have some news about Celeste as well. Maybe we'll start with that news story.
Fun.
All right. So this is the PS-news, PS-N. So we'll go ahead and talk a little bit about And I mentioned just a moment ago, I mentioned Celeste, so we'll talk about that first. It was announced this week on Monday that free DLC is coming for Celeste.
Ooh.
And it's supposedly coming sometime right after the end of the month. Matt Thorson announced it on Twitter. And just some details he put with it was it won't be ready for the anniversary on January 25th. It's one continuous chapter. There's no B-side to it. It's after the current hardest levels in difficulty. And so if you know anything about Celeste, you know it has the A side, the B side, the C side, and is there a D side?
I haven't played it since they only had B side.
Okay. Well, C side I think was always in there. And that was when the C side was always in there. And so it comes after that. There's no strawberries, so you don't have to worry about that. And there are some new items / mechanics. And the best part, Matt, it's going to be free on all platforms.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's nice.
That's pretty exciting. Yeah. So that was, exciting to hear, particularly since I just finished it. And so I won't mind jumping back into it in that regard.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's move on to the other ones I talked about. If you look at the first one I've got there, I'm going to tie these two together. There's been a lot of Days Gone news this week. I don't know if you noticed that or not. There's been a lot of Days Gone news. Looks like Sony has officially built up the hype train, or is trying to.
Mm-hmm.
This past week, they actually announced, they put out like a Rockstar-esque type trailer that basically went through, the world and showed you some of the areas and the locations and things like that. And then the other thing that they did was they gave us a new trailer and they went over all the pre-order details on the PlayStation blog. And so as usual, pre-ordering nets you extra bits and pieces. You can get early access to the Drifter crossbow weapon, a few enhancements for your bike. You can also get a dynamic theme if you order through the PS Store. And then they also have a special edition of the game that looks decent. You get some decals and some art of Days Gone, and then you get a little physical, statue, which is the norm, I think, now, as well as the steelbook art case, or steelbook case, I mean.
Yeah.
That looks exciting.
For sure.
I'm slowly starting to get more excited for Days Gone. I wasn't excited for it at all. I do think that maybe knowing a little bit more about it and seeing a little bit more about it, I'm finally starting to maybe get my interest peaked. So we'll see how that goes. Number 2. You're right over there.
Yeah, sorry.
You're not dying on me, are you?
No, but there's something in my throat that won't go away. Some kind of tickle in my throat, yeah.
You know what it might be? Well, it might be a tickle in your throat. It might be the fact that EA keeps telling us that they're committed to making Star Wars games and they keep canceling them.
Yeah, either way, it's going to make me want to throw up. So
yeah. That's probably all the BS you're swallowing from EA.
Yeah, exactly.
So this comes out of Kotaku as well as Push Square. They reported that EA's Vancouver open world Star Wars title has been canceled again by the infamous publisher.
Surprise, surprise.
EA sent out a statement saying, quote, "There's been speculation overnight about one of our Star Wars projects. As a natural part of creative process, the great work by our team in Vancouver continues and will evolve into future Star Wars content and games. We're fully committed to making more Star Wars games. We're very excited about Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order from Respawn, and we'll share more about our new projects when the time is right." And so from what I've read and understood, it sounds like the Respawn game will be out soon, within the next year or two. But this one was apparently another several years off. And they didn't want to waste the time and energy on something that may not make it either onto current gen consoles or at the beginning of the next console generation. And so it sounds like it wasn't canceled as much as they kind of, I think I read somewhere that they'll put it on hold and they'll revisit it later, which means that they're probably putting everything into getting something out sooner, and they don't want to take the CD Projekt route of taking their time to make a game, with Hideo Kojima time of making their game to really get something out the door. They just want to kind of pump out. Because, I mean, they're already halfway through their deal with Disney. They had 10 years to make Star Wars games. They signed a 10-year contract, and I'm pretty sure they're in year 6 or 7 already.
Wow.
And we've got, 2 Battlefronts, and that's been it?
Yeah.
So,
and would you say those were good games?
I thought the first Battlefront was okay. The second one was not.
Yeah.
You all ready to take this next one?
No, not yet.
Not yet? Okay,
Sorry.
I'll take this next one. The next one talks about Sony has reportedly started sending out survey emails regarding the future of PlayStation. Sony supposedly this past, I guess, week or so, they send out emails from time to time asking questions about, what was this? I never get those, so I don't know who actually gets them. But this one says that they've seen questionnaires regarding DualShock, PSN name changes, and PSVR. Now, we all know that stuff's coming about anyway, right? Like the PSN name changes, for example. So apparently this one has asked a little bit more than a dozen questions concerning console or handheld gaming and how the user experiences it. And it asks about streaming, playing games on or offline, as well as owning consoles and other devices. It makes me wonder if it's something that will have them look a little bit at PS5 stuff and things they may want to be including in the last minute there.
Oh, 100%.
So I'm sure they already have a map laid out for PS5. It's probably already getting ready to be into development, but there's probably certain things that they're looking for, hoping to maybe shape their plan with regarding it.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the next one is kind of a big deal. I tied two stories into one here. We got a lot of Death Stranding news this week. A lot, yeah. And it's exciting. First off, Kojima went over to Guerrilla Games and apparently showed off a little bit of a demo, perhaps a little bit of a slice of the game. And did you hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my
back there.
Yeah, that was my cat falling off of my gaming collection.
I figured it had something to do with your cat.
Yeah, now she's stuck. So I'm going to read this story, and then you're taking the next one while I rescue her. Kojima is currently in Amsterdam showing Guerrilla Games how his PlayStation 4 exclusive is progressing. And apparently Herman Holst and another developer, director of Horizon Zero Dawn said that the demo left them speechless. So, yeah, that's
pretty awesome.
Yeah, if it left them speechless, I can imagine how great it is. Now, the other thing that ties into that is I don't know if you saw anything about the 10-year challenge. Have you even seen people doing that on social media?
A what?
The 10-year challenge or the 10-year, I guess that's what it's called.
Like the photo thing or something like that?
Yeah. Like 2009 versus 2019.
Sure. I mean, I've seen it or I've heard of it.
And so apparently Troy Baker tweeted out 2009 versus 2019. And he put a picture of himself as Snow from Final Fantasy 13. And then he put himself as a picture of the Golden Mask from Death Stranding and left an ellipsis mark at the end.
With a question mark. Maybe 2019?
Yeah, and so that led people to, maybe he's just messing around saying that's what he's been working on in 2019.
Yeah, sure.
But it left people wondering if perhaps this was him hinting that it may come out this year.
I mean, whether it was him hinting or not, I'm sure there's a lot of uproar about it, right?
Yeah. Again, it's take it as with a grain of salt. Mm-hmm. But Hideo Kojima did say he expects it to be out prior to the Olympics. In 2020 is the next Olympics?
I think so.
Maybe he'll do something very Kojima-like. And what I would love is for him to drop a demo on the PSN like he did with PT out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the demo, it says purchase now. And then you can unlock the full game then and there. Right?
That'd be interesting.
Right. Just something very Kojima-like.
Yeah.
Where he just releases it. Or maybe it gets mailed out with like a fake art cover. And then when you open up the box or something, it's like the game. I have no idea. Like maybe it opens up as like, it's labeled like Metal Gear or something when people open up the box. It's, something just goofy.
Yeah.
Something just him.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that'll be, but I do think it'll come out this year. I think he's going to drop it and not tell anyone or do something ridiculous. We'll find out.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump back half a second.
Sure. Go for it.
Because I was looking at that when you're talking about the PlayStation questionnaire that they sent out, like the survey emails. On Push Square, there was another link that says PS5 is coming, and Sony confirms that. Apparently, they said they were telling a German website that they will release a next gen console, albeit not anytime soon. So they did at least confirm a PlayStation 5, which is nice. I mean, we knew that. I mean, it
We
would
did.
be odd that they wouldn't do a PlayStation 5. However, nice of Sony to finally acknowledge this said next generation console.
Exactly.
All right, Ubisoft apologizes for Assassin's Creed Odyssey DLC ending as fan backlash continues, says episode 3.
No spoilers here, by the way.
Okay, good. Better not be, because I haven't finished the game. I'd be really mad.
I'm pretty sure if you look at that article, it tells you after a certain paragraph, please do not. Oh, no, okay, this one, I gave you the one that has no spoilers at all.
Oh, well, thank you. The second episode of Assassin's Creed Odyssey, The Legacy of the First Blade, dropped yesterday at the time of writing. And within hours, the DLC had pissed off many a player. We won't go into details here for spoiler reasons, but be sure to check out our article on the matter if you want to know more. I'm assuming that one has the spoiler.
Oh, yeah.
The gist of it is that episode 2, Shadow Heritage, forces your hero, whichever you chose, into a situation that many believe betrays the game's focus on player choice. Ooh. At the end of the DLC, you're locked into a relationship that cannot be altered. Well, that's silly. It gets a little more complicated than that, but again, no spoilers here. Anyway, Ubisoft has responded to the backlash, which still rages across forums and social media. In statements to Eurogamer, the publisher writes, "We strive to give player choice whenever possible in Odyssey and apologize to those surprised by the events of the episode." Yeah, surprise is one way to put it. It continues, without spoiling it. You will engage in an important relationship as part of a set story. The motivation behind this relationship is yours to explore in-game and will be reflected in your character's story arc. There is one episode left in the Legacy of the First Blade, which will tie your character's actions together. The second part of the statement suggests that there may be some answers in the third and final DLC, which is due out in March. So, what do you think?
I think I would be upset too because, I mean, from what I've played of Odyssey, there's plenty of player choice, and I'd be really upset if you took that away from me.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that for sure. I mean, for you to be kind of like locked into a situation after playing so much of the game the other way, which is what? I mean, if you actually finish it and do a bunch of all the other side stuff, I mean, how long will that take you? 80 hours?
Yeah, give or take.
Probably. Yeah, for to play 80 hours and then all of a sudden, hour 85, you're like, nah, we got it from here.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that would make me mad.
I can understand the uproar, but I mean, also, maybe, I mean, I understand the, like, playing each episode as it comes out, but if you play it all through at the same time, will people be as mad? You know what I mean? Like, if I buy the Legacy of the First, Legacy of the First Blade as a complete thing, will I still be as mad?
I do wonder that too. Like, is it going to be rectified in the third one? And this is just people outright raging because they didn't know. Yeah. You know, kind of, it puts you in a temporary forced situation.
Sure.
And that was immediately what popped into my head because, you know, we live in outrage culture. So.
Oh, of course. Well, the other thing is does it affect? I mean, say you're. I mean, I would assume you can play this without finishing the game. Is that correct?
I don't know because I've actually tried to avoid the DLC for reading about it since I haven't finished the game. Okay. My assumption is, though, it's meant to be post-game.
Well, yeah, it's meant to be post-game, but if you can play it and then it maybe alters your stuff a little bit because you haven't finished, then I could see the uproar in that.
Right. Don't know.
But who knows?
Who knows indeed. All right. This next one's for you as well, but I'll read it.
Ooh.
Cross-console play finally has arrived in Rocket League on PS4.
I did see that.
That's pretty much straightforward. Want to play with other people? Boom. Let's do it.
Yep.
And so it's turned on by default. And so, yay. That's cool. You know, Psyonix obviously knew how to do this over a year ago, and Sony was like, oh, what are you doing? They're like, well, we just pressed the button. Sorry.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Their servers were more than ready for it.
Yeah, and so that's just kind of cool. Whatever, it is what it is. I don't even know what number I'm on, but that's okay. This one ties into the game I forgot to mention that I had played this week. Less than a third of players.
Yeah, you told me about this.
Yeah, have reached an end of the Resident Evil 2 one-shot demo. Really cool idea by Capcom. You literally get one time to play it. It's a 30-minute timer. You can get as far as you can through the police station. If you get out of the police station, you complete the demo.
Mm-hmm.
I watched a speed run. You can do it in 3 minutes and 15 seconds.
Wow.
But Capcom estimates that nearly 1.4 million people have played the demo, and that only 28% of them have actually made it to the end before their time ran out.
Yowza.
Now, for me, though, two things happened. One, I didn't want to just rush through it. I wanted to kind of like check out everything everywhere.
Of course.
And two, I got low on health and low on ammo as any Resident Evil game at one point. And I struggled and I didn't want to die before my 30 minutes was up because I would have been mad.
If you die, that's it too?
Yep.
Ooh.
It's literally one 30-minute time and that's all you get. And I cannot wait to play it because they've literally not just remastered it and made it prettier. I think they've moved things around.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of things that happened that I was like, that's not what happened in the PlayStation before. And so it's like a complete remake, which I mean, obviously it's called.
Remake, yeah.
But they've done I can't wait to play through it again. Like, I loved Resident Evil 2.
I honestly don't remember playing it.
It was fantastic. It was the one that had Ava, or not, was it Ava or Ada? Ada Wong.
I don't know.
And the other chick, I can't remember her name, and then a little girl. It was really good. I think that was one of, I can't remember if we run into Wesker or not in that one, but...
Now, I have a question. Is the one shot in reference to you have one shot at it, or the amount of bullets it takes to kill someone?
No. That one shot means you get one chance to play it, 30 minutes. You have plenty of ammo, believe me. But I will say, I feel like the zombies were a lot harder to kill. You know, I'd hit them in the head 4 or 5 times, and I'm like, oh, they're down, and then they'd bite my leg. So I feel like they're a lot tougher to take down in this remake.
Yeah.
All right. For the Dragon Balls Fighter Z fans out there.
They have fans?
They, you know what? Believe it or not, that I almost bought that game on sale. It was between that and Street Fighter, actually.
Oh.
Because when I played the demo, I loved it. My problem is I just don't know anything about Dragon Ball. So
right.
For me to play it, I'd feel like that'd be like playing, I don't know, it'd be like saying you were a huge BioShock fan and then never playing one of them. Or playing them, going, well, I've heard these are good. Like playing the Infinite before you played the other ones.
Sure.
I just would feel like I was faking it. So anyway, a second season of DLC characters from the game seems nailed on now. It was pretty much confirmed by the game's producer during a live stream. And now Bandai Namco is teasing the next additional character coming to the super stylish fighter. It looks like the warrior from Universe 11 is joining. And so that's cool. They assume it means Jiren, I guess is the name. Congratulations on that. I'm sure he's awesome. I'm sure it'll be fun to have that character. And I still might pick that game up when it's on sale again. So,
yeah. But
for Dragon Ball FighterZ fans, that is exciting news. All right. We're almost done here. There's just 2 other ones I wanted to mention real quick. First, this will be... the attachment rate's one of them. But I have some PSVR news I wanted to run through real quick.
Surprise, surprise. Always pushing the VR, folks.
Damn right. 3 things. 1, you're going to get a new downloadable demo disc for 2019 with different games on it. So that's exciting. It'll be free on the store at some point as well. 2, this weekend, if you... obviously, you won't... It'll be over by the time you get this. But PS Plus members are getting a free trial for PSVR Shooter Firewall 0 Hour. So I'll be trying that out this weekend. It goes through the 20th, so I'll try that out before tomorrow. Basically gives you access to the entire game, including modes and maps. All XP and crypto you earn will carry over if you purchase the game. And so I might try that. It's a first-person shooter in VR. It's supposed to be fantastic from what I heard. So I will definitely give that a whirl. And then I think that was it, actually. I take that back. I know Beat Saber has announced that their first song pack will be coming soon as well. That's not necessarily news that's been reported on, but if you follow them on Twitter, they have talked about bringing that out as well. So, all right, last piece of news, and then we'll move into our topic today that we purposely left out a piece of news on. And that is that PS4 has a very high software attach rate. Average player owns around 10 games. And so, Matt, I don't know about you, but it kind of sounds weird to me.
Why do you think that that's low?
Because I think about, I mean, maybe I'm just an enthusiast. Maybe I'm just like a super nerd. I have more than 10.
Maybe, Robert. We are definitely nerds. We're doing a podcast about video games.
Like, I can count 16 physical games that are within eyesight right now, and I have like stuff in the way of all my other games. And that doesn't include that if I fired up my PlayStation that has almost 3 terabytes worth of games on it. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And so to say that the average person only has 10 games is kind of bizarre to me. I guess that's impressive, though.
Yeah. I mean, especially considering how many units they've sold.
Yeah, they've sold it's
up to 91.6.
91.6.
That's
0.6,
insane, dude. That's nuts.
Yeah. Well, it's on its way to passing, is it Super NES or any? It's on its way to passing one of them. I can't remember what it is.
Yeah.
It should pass it this year. It will never catch PlayStation 2 because PlayStation 2 sold 180 million units.
Wow.
And so I don't think it'll ever catch PlayStation 2. But here's the interesting part. Marvel's Spider-Man sold 9 million copies. So that's basically 1 in 10 people owns Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. And so out of those 9.6 games, 1 in 10 people have Spider-Man. Yeah.
2 of those 9 million right here.
Yeah, that's pretty healthy. I mean, it's a pretty healthy attachment, right?
Oh,
9.6. Because you usually hear like 3.2 or 4 games or something like that.
See, that seems low to me. But for as long as the PlayStation 4 has been out, and I don't know, the amount of games that... I wonder if that includes like...
PS Plus?
PS Plus stuff.
I don't think it does. I think that they're saying games that were actually physically purchased.
Okay, that makes
sense. I mean, that would be too easy because if you have 1 year PS Plus, you'd have 24 games.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I don't think that counts. But that's crazy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a lot of games.
Because I sometimes will buy like 10 games in 3 months. So for somebody to own the PlayStation 4, I can't imagine, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, last piece of news is going to lead us into our talk, so we'll just cover it in the talk.
Hey-o.
The talk. And so for our topic of conversation, I thought we could talk about the Mortal Kombat 11 reveal.
Get over here!
Because I am super excited about. Oh man, that almost sounded like we inserted that in. I give you credit there. Dave doesn't even have to do any editing. It sounds almost like it.
Hey-o.
Yeah, so it was revealed this past week, and what do we think?
Oh my gosh! I mean, I called it. I called it 6 months early, but I called it.
You knew that Rhonda Rousey was going to be in it?
I knew they were going to have another game. I knew that 2019 was going to bring us another Mortal Kombat, and I'm super stoked about it. Like, I've watched the gameplay reveal, and I've watched the Fatalities trailer, and they're just such awesome, senseless violence. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy to look at what these guys are doing and just like what the craziness they come up with, right?
Oh yeah.
Like I don't know, just some of the stuff like you see, it's just like what kind of crazy person thinks of this? Well, the guys at NetherRealm for sure.
Oh yeah, easily.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm super excited. I'm really not sure whether I want to buy the premium edition or not.
By premium, do you mean the $300 edition?
No, the premium is the $100 edition.
You sure you don't want the $300 edition?
See, oh my gosh, that $300 edition, I will say, looks absurd.
I've always wanted Scorpion's mask.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. And it's supposed to be human. It's human head sized, right?
Yeah, it's 1-to-1 ratio.
Yeah, well, I mean, come on. That's like, I mean, how much did we spend for the Fallout bundle, Fallout 4?
Yeah.
For the Pip-Boy. Was that 300?
No. It was 100 and something.
Was it only like 150?
Yeah, I think it was 150. Or no, it was 150, I think so, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. We've spent money on things like that before, and it's hard to say whether I should or not, because good Lord, that mask looks amazing.
Yeah, that would look great on my desk.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's like, I don't know, the fact that it's just not like yellow, it looks like gold. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I'm sure obviously it's painted gold, but it's hard to pick what edition I want. But I will probably go with the premium, even at the $100 rate, just based on the fact that they have the extra stuff of the combat packs, which I'm sure will be awesome.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
What have you liked thus far of these reveals?
Well, so a couple of things. One, I ran a poll asking what people wanted most out of Mortal Kombat 11. 25% they wanted returning characters, 13% they wanted new characters, 24% said they wanted an expanded storyline, and 38% said they wanted a better fighting system. And so I guess people took a little bit of issue with MK10's fighting system, maybe.
Okay.
But I will say that it looks like, and I don't know if you looked at this at all during the reveal, they did say that they had made several tweaks to the fighting system. And so that may not have been in the piece I sent you, but mechanic-wise, you're going to have 2 meters instead of 1. You'll have an offensive move and 1 for defensive moves. You'll have a meter you can build to unleash gory fatal blows, like in Injustice 2.
Yeah.
And they're not fatal, but they should be. And then you also have a thing that if you perform the perfect block, you'll actually break out of the attack and directly into a combo, or the ability to break out into a combo.
Nice.
And so they have lots of different things going. It sounds like the story is going to be amazing. They're introducing a new character named Chronica that has apparently been behind the scenes in charge of this. The entire Mortal Kombat series is what they're going with as the story. She can manipulate time, which is that other character I talked to you about before we went on air that can manipulate time as well.
Yep.
And so I think what I'm excited about is apparently she can use her time manipulation powers to pick
Jairus is his name.
Yes, Jairus, that's it. She can use her time manipulation powers to pit your combatants against different versions of themselves. And so what I like the idea of is a storyline where I fight like Scorpion as Scorpion from like the original Mortal Kombat. Or,
yes,
you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like,
oh, yeah.
I can fight as different characters in their different incarnations. And so,
yeah, of course.
I have to say the movements look much more fluid, much more weighty. It looks like punches have a bigger impact now. It looks like they have a photo mode possibly as well. You're going to be able to augment your combat characters with different weapons, skins, costume pieces, intros. I really, really like the amount of customization it seems like.
Yeah.
I will say one thing. It is super, super gory.
What? It's gory? A Mortal Kombat game, Robert?
Right, but what I got to say is this is taking it like to a new level. Like, have you watched some of the fatalities and some of the the eye-popping, literally eye-popping action?
Yeah. There's a lot of eye-popping work going on. I like it.
Yeah. I have to say it is probably the goriest Mortal... I mean, obviously, they have the ability to do so with graphics and
of course.
Animation, but...
Yeah, it just looks realer and realer.
Yeah, it looks intense. And I actually... I don't know if I'm getting squeamish in my old age or what, but a couple of times I cringed in such a way I was like, ooh, like my stomach churned for half a second.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'm just not used to that too, because Celeste certainly is not gory, you know. But
there certainly is a lot of death in Celeste.
There is. Oh yeah. We won't even talk about that. We'll talk about that off air actually. But anyway, I'm impressed. I'm excited. There was some backlash to MMA fighter, or I should say former MMA fighter, Rhonda Rousey, now WWE superstar, right? Being the voice of Sonya Blade. And they modeled the likeness after her a little bit.
Yeah.
I really don't care. I'm fine with that. I can deal with that. A couple people complained about her costume and one of the other new characters' costume being a little more conservative in terms of, maybe revealing or sexiness.
Yeah. So they want them to be sluttier.
A little bit. And my kind of rebuttal to that would be wait till we see if Katana or Jade are in there, because I have a funny feeling they probably won't alter them or their costumes. And if you're playing against a past version of Sonya Blade was never sexy to begin with, to me. But even in her past versions, she was dressed somewhat conservatively, I think.
Yeah, as compared to the rest of them, for sure.
Yeah, and so I think the fact you can fight older versions of themselves means you'll probably have a Sonya Blade that looks more like the original Sonya Blade, or looks more like MK9 Sonya Blade. I don't foresee that being an issue where suddenly it's going to be heavily censored.
Right.
I know that Sony's done that with some other games, and people are certainly, righteously outraged about that because it's slippery slope. And we talked about that a long time ago on one of the podcasts, but I don't foresee this being an issue. I think they were just trying to give her a more Rhonda Rousey militaristic type of look.
Yep.
And so I think they were just trying to freshen up, because if you look at Scorpion's costume, it's ideally the same, but at the same time, it looks very different too than older versions of Scorpion.
Right. Well, maybe they'll go the way of Dead or Alive and do like a bikini version.
Or destructible clothing, I guess.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm not worried about it. I think you have a right to be outraged once you see if the other characters are toned down.
Sure.
But I also think that because it's Mortal Kombat, and Mortal Kombat has always pressed the edges with, you think about the first Mortal Kombat, kind of started the whole debate with violence in video games.
Yeah, of course.
I don't foresee it being an issue in the future. I think you'll see that they'll push the edge just like they always do. I mean, the gore they certainly have.
Right.
Anyway, I just wanted to mention that while we were talking about stuff. But I'm excited to play it. It's got me fired up to boot back up Mortal Kombat 10 and play back through some of that and play that over again. I do think that hopefully with some of these changes, it'll earn some more respect than it already has. I mean, it already has fighting scene respect, but I think this might take it up a notch for hardcore enthusiasts who really enjoy their fighting games. I think this might take it up a notch. It sounds like they've really made some tweaks to the battle system.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, just looking at like some of the pictures, you can see like the 2 defense bars and like the 2 weapon bars.
Mm-hmm.
And it's clear that weapons are going to play a big part in that. Like every video I see, there's a bunch of stabbings, and like they're like cutting each other up in weird ways. You know what I mean? So clearly that's going to be something added, like an added bonus, I guess. Something different with the mechanics of the fighting with weapons.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm also kind of curious just to see how the combat changes now that you have characters you can control, like the timer.
Oh, yeah.
Like what kind of layer of strategy will that add to the combat as well? I'm very curious.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he already looks like a pretty badass character, like with with the moves that we've seen.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So for them to add like a time element on top of that, it's got to be pretty interesting.
Yeah. So I'm excited. We'll see what happens. I'm definitely pre-ordering, mainly because I've always loved Mortal Kombat. I always played it in the arcade when it was out too, and so I know people give me a lot of slack for this, but I can't help it. When I'm loyal to something, I'm loyal to something. You've got to really do something to screw up.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, look at Assassin's Creed, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They do different things.
Yeah.
Syndicate was kind of old hat and kind of boring, and then they switched it up, and
it worked out. I think it worked out for them. All right. Anything else you want to say about that?
Is it April yet?
I know. I hear you on that one. What I thought I would do too is introduce a new little segment here, and I think we're going to try and do this every week or every other week at least. I call it for 2019. I'm going to call it the 2-minute review.
Okay.
It's going to be a game, and so I'm going to force you to play something other than Fortnite and Rocket League. It's where we're going to pick a game that comes out this year. Now, I haven't. It's January. Not a lot has come out yet. It's starting to get into that time now, where more games are releasing. But I think what I'd like to be able to do for this is take and for those listening, 2 minutes, a quick review of a game that we've been playing from the past week. Ideally, that maybe just came out, so that you're able to go out and purchase it and get an idea just from this podcast what you think of the game, or what we think of the game, and whether or not it's worth the purchase. And that's kind of how we'll wrap things up. So I'm going to start with the one I've been playing that I mentioned to you earlier, Steel Rats for PlayStation 4. It's published and developed by TateMultimedia. It came out in November of last year, but so within the last 2 months. So we're making the exception here for it. I'm about halfway through it, and it's a 2.5D platformer that is basically a motorcycle puzzle platforming mashup. It feels like a mix between Trials Fusion and a 2D fighting game and a platformer, and it's just really different in that regard. What I like about it, I love the graphics. I think for what it is, they look great. I love the combat is simple but easy, and never too complex, and yet still fun. It's got this nice little world building that goes on with each environment. I like that. Probably about a 5 to 7 hour playthrough, and you can be finished with it. What I'm not a fan of, though, would be just the quick and easy here. I'm not a fan of trying to figure out where the heck you're supposed to, because you do a lot of switching between the front part of the screen and the back part of the screen to dodge obstacles or to jump and platform.
Sure.
And sometimes I can't tell where I'm supposed to be, or I have a hard time getting him to move from the front to the back or the front back to the front, because instead of him moving front to back or back to front, sometimes the way I'm pressing on the analog stick, he ends up doing a wheelie instead. And so that can be difficult. I do like that you can switch on the fly between the 4 main characters, and each one of them have unique abilities. And so depending on what you're fighting in terms of robots, it might be easier to switch between them for certain things. And so you could probably actually tag team as well. I do like the collectibles and the secrets and the stuff like that too. That's a lot of fun, finding that stuff. And they have challenges for each level. And so it might be finish this level in a minute 30. It might be don't take any damage. It might be, destroy 10 robots using your whatever, depending on what characters in that level. And so as a whole, I'd probably give it like an 8 out of 10 if I had to assign it a number. It does get more complex. The first couple levels are a little dull to me because it's a little simple with your abilities and what you can do. But as you start upgrading them and customizing your bike and everything with the junk you collect, it becomes a little bit more complex and a lot more fun to play. And so that's my 2-minute review of Steel Rats. I would say go buy it if you need like a good time waster and you're kind of waiting between big games, or you need to take a break from Red Dead 2 because you'll never finish it, or Assassin's Creed Odyssey because you'll never finish it.
Oh, Robert, I'll finish that.
Yeah, I'm sure you will, like you did God of War. And so maybe Steel Rats is for a guy like you, where you just know you ain't going to finish other games. You could finish this one.
Oh, sweet. So
go out and check it out. Again, TateMultimedia released it last year. And we'll do, again, maybe we'll pick one off the drop this week to talk about and see if we want to dig into it for next week.
Cool.
All right. Speaking of the drop, let's move into that. 2-minute review is over.
Heyo. See you soon.
See you soon. All right, so let's hit up the drop here for a little bit. These are the new games coming out January 22nd, the week of January 22nd. And so as you hear this podcast, they will be coming out this week. You want to start or you want me to start?
I'll start, but real quick before I do.
Uh-oh.
Just because I got reminded of the banner that showed up reminded me. And this is one of the reasons I thought about playing God of War. I had a question for you. You never platinumed God of War, is that correct?
No, I went to go back and do that, and then other games came out.
Okay. Because if you had platinumed it, Sony did send out a code for a free avatar, just like they did with Horizon.
Well, I have to say, as much as I love avatars, I could probably think of more exciting stuff.
Yeah. Just a little tidbit of what they did with it.
But no, that's cool.
All right. A Fisherman's Tale, PSVR Digital. Bend and twist reality in A Fisherman's Tale, the mind-bending VR puzzle adventure game in which being turned upside down and inside out is not merely a play on words.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Yeah, interesting.
Probably don't want to play it because I hate fishing in real life, so why would I do it now? But, I mean, a puzzle game.
Yeah, it says upside down and inside out. That's interesting.
Yeah. I just don't like that it's called A Fisherman's Tale. It just doesn't... Makes me think of fishing. All right. Here we go. This next one looks good. At Sundown, Shots in the Dark. at sundown. Shots in the Dark is a stealth-driven, top-down multiplayer shooter in which up to 4 players compete in both online and local deathmatch. Only the best will dominate each round and survive the ultimate challenge to rise to the top at sundown. This looks like a cyberpunk game that was coming out. And I wonder if this is the one I was thinking of, that it looks pretty cool, but I'm worried about people actually populating the servers.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to look that one up.
Online and local deathmatch, so.
Yeah, it makes me wonder if that's the one I was looking at. There is a cyberpunk one coming out. That may not be it, though.
Okay. All right, up next, Future Grind, PS4 Digital. Grab your bike and hit the rails in Future Grind, a stylish stunt racer all about tricks, skill, and speed. Think you have what it takes? Test your limits while grinding to the bass-pounding beats of an original soundtrack by Big Nick.
Cool.
Original soundtrack, that's nice. That's a cool draw.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I like about Beat Saber is it's all done by the developer.
Okay.
Heroes Trials, PS4 and PS Vita digital cross-buy. After the banishing of the previous defender of your island, the community needs new heroes. The long training of siblings Elia and Zol takes them to the last trials to become the new local guardians. Rising to the top will not be an easy feat. Okay. Don't know what I'm doing.
Up next, Jack Quest, The Tale of the Sword, PS4 digital out 124. A fast-paced fantasy action platformer in which quick combat and steady progression, Jack Quest guides players through a single interconnected world full of secrets, collectible gems, and hidden challenges. Did I read that wrong?
No, you read it correctly. I noticed too that perhaps we're rusty on the drop, but I felt like I had a hard time reading mine as well. So I can't tell if it's me, you, or if it's the drop this week. Oof. So we'll find out.
I think for me it was I don't know. That might have been me.
It might have been. Realm Royale, PS4 digital. Be the last champion standing in Realm Royale. Choose a class, then loot deadly weapons and powerful abilities to create your own champion. Explore a fantasy world from horseback and craft game-changing legendary gear. That looks like Fortnite with wizards.
Yep, looks like it. All right, up next, Resident Evil 2. PS4 digital, retail out $125. A deadly virus engulfs the residents of Raccoon City in September of 1998, plunging the city into chaos as flesh-eating zombies roam the streets for survivors. An unparalleled adrenaline rush, gripping storyline, and unimaginable horror awaits you. Witness the return of Resident Evil 2.
Do you remember when the game popped up? The first time you would do it, it was like Resident Evil. Did you ever play the first one?
I feel it's been so long, and it didn't stick in my mind that well.
Whoa!
Like I played
you just said that.
Yeah, I didn't like the Resident Evil games.
I loved them. That's what I think of. I think of it when it was like you would fire it up and be like Resident Evil, like the darkest like possible, you know. Anyway, I'm excited for that. I cannot wait to play that. I wasn't gonna buy it. I said, you know what? Screw it. I don't need another remake. I need new games.
Gotcha.
And then I played that one-shot demo, and I was just like, oh, this is so... This feels like a new game. It feels familiar and yet new.
New, yeah. That's cool.
All right. Here it is. The controversy of the 2018 makes its way into 2019. Senran Kagura burst RE dot renewal. I just threw in the dot. You know, it's a little colon
I love how
there.
you said you're gonna do it like you said it like you're gonna spread out re and newel, and you're like RE dot renewal.
Yeah.
Instead of just saying RE dot newel.
Yeah, I don't know what was wrong with me there.
Yeah, that was weird.
All right. This is the first game ever censored on PlayStation.
Ooh.
Experience the original Senran Kagura burst like never before. Tackle the classic ninja brawler from a whole new perspective in gorgeous Fluid HD with new features and mechanics throughout.
Is it new features because it's censored, probably?
No, it's new features like they updated and did some stuff, and then good old Sony said, nope, we don't like that you're letting us, I don't even know how to express it. Rub little girls, I have no idea.
Yeah.
And so it is censored, not on the Switch, but on the PlayStation. We'll see. I think it'll still probably sell.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, I'm sorry. That's you. Go for it.
Last but not least, yeah, trying to do 2 in a row. I see how it is. All right. Last but not least, Wonder Song, PS4 Digital. A musical adventure where you use singing to save the world. Play as a silly bard who embarks on a globe-trotting journey to learn about the mysterious Earth Song, said to prevent the universe's imminent end. It's up to you to sing your songs, unlock the world's secrets, and make new friends.
Very nice.
I like it.
Yeah. Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
I guess that's it.
That's it.
Short week.
Yeah. Well, it is still January.
Yeah. There were a few more last week that we missed out on because we were just crazy busy. But
what? Should we do a posthumous drop?
I'll tell you what. We won't do a whole drop, but what I think we should do, I think we should at least take a little gander. And by the way, my pick for this week would be Resident Evil 2. Easily.
Oh, yeah? You're going to do a 2-minute review on that?
No, I won't do a 2-minute review on that. I'm just letting you know, though, that like if I had to pick one, for people to purchase, it would probably be that. That or the Senran Kagura, because even though it's being censored, you should still support the developer. It's not their fault Sony doesn't like them.
Yes. I mean, that Wonder Song kind of sounded pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I would agree. I would agree. If since we didn't get to do it last week, I will just simply say I did glance at some of them last week, and I think the winner for me out of last week's choices, obviously Ace Combat 7 was one that I think you should seriously purchase. But if there was one that I had to pick that I think that you should purchase just based on the name, it would be Holy Potatoes, We're in Space.
What?
Yep. Space. The final French fried. I'll send it to you. Don't worry. I calm your horses. It'll be right above. It'll be right above the 2-minute review. There you go. Space, the final French fried tier, set out on an intergalactic voyage of discovery, adventure, and potato-based puns. And Holy Potatoes, We're in Space, combining hard-boiled battles, mashed management, and scalloped simulation into a dish that's out of this world.
Oh my gosh, that's the best written game description we've had on the drop.
Yeah.
100%.
Absolutely. And we didn't even do it. I just did it now. So anyway, that's there you go. That's that. All right. That's going to wrap it up for this week. We appreciate you joining us for 50 episodes, or if it's your first episode, or if it's your 5th episode. When we hit 100, if we make it there, we'll make it there with your support, though, over at patreon.com.
Yeah,
and so please go support us. We've got a couple supporters already, but we could always use more to make this a reality. Help us out. The government's shut down. Go support us on Patreon. All right. Hopefully the government won't be shut down by the time this episode releases.
Yeah.
If you don't hear from me next week, they came for me.
Well, we can talk about it because the government is shut down, so there's no one going to be coming for us.
That's true. I can't even file my taxes yet.
Oh, that's the thing that's going to annoy me the most. I really need that money.
See, that's what I'm saying. Just throw us $1 on Patreon, and we'll love you forever.
Right?
All right. That's going to do it for us. Until next time, game on.
Game on. Resident Evil outro music. Creepy outro music. This is the outro music for this week. Resident Evil 2.
Remake. I gotta throw that in there. It's a remake.
Good times.